Diddy's pressing the government to reveal the identities of his alleged victims in a shocking trafficking case. But should he even have the right to know who they are? In a legal filing just this week, Diddy's lawyers argued that without knowing who his accusers are, he can't properly defend himself. But here's the thing. I don't think Diddy deserves to know their names. Let's get into it. In his filing on October 15th, Diddy's legal team urged the judge to direct prosecutors to reveal the identities of the alleged victims mentioned in the indictment. They argued that without clarity from the government, Mr. Combs has no way of knowing which allegations the government is relying on for purposes of the indictment. This statement raises a lot of questions about the fairness of the legal process. But let's not forget why we're here. The lawyer's argument is that Diddy shouldn't be forced to play a guessing game about who these victims are. But here's where I start to have a problem. Diddy's request feels more like a tactic to control the narrative and less about genuinely wanting to defend himself. He's facing serious charges, including racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking. Shouldn't he be focusing on the evidence rather than trying to track down the identities of those accusing him? And let's not forget about victim 1, who is believed to be his ex-girlfriend Cassie. She was the first to come forward, accusing Diddy of trafficking and assault in a lawsuit last November. He settled that suit for a reported $30 million, but insists he did nothing wrong. Diddy's track record with women isn't exactly squeaky clean, and I'm not sure he deserves the benefit of the doubt when it comes to knowing who's speaking out against him. And let's speak about that whole narrative of, oh, the government is forcing him unfairly to play a guessing game. Let's not forget, Diddy's the one who's been accused of some serious crimes, not the victims. They're the ones who've been put in vulnerable positions, and his desire to name them feels like an attempt to shift the focus back onto himself and away from the very real issues at hand. Now, Diddy's lawyers also claimed that the government's evidence will show his alleged freak-off parties were consensual. They argued that the identities of his accusers make it difficult for him to address these claims legally. But let's be real here. If these parties were truly consensual, why would there be so many allegations against him now? It raises a lot of red flags. And it's not just Diddy's defense. This situation opens up a broader discussion about accountability. We have to consider the implications of giving Diddy the names of his accusers. Think about it. Revealing these identities could put them at risk. Victims of trafficking and abuse already face enough trauma without having to deal with potential backlash or harassment. While allegations like this surface, the focus should be on the victims and their stories. Instead, Diddy seems to want to pivot the attention back to himself and make this about his rights as a defendant. It feels incredibly self-serving. He's already in a position of power, and the last thing we need is for him to leverage that power to intimidate or silence those who are speaking out against him. Plus, Diddy is currently being held at the notorious Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, and he's been denied bail multiple times. He's facing some serious charges, and the legal process should be centered on justice for the victims rather than giving a wealthy mogul the opportunity to dictate the terms of his defense. So what do y'all think? Should Diddy be allowed to know the names of his accusers? Or do you agree that the focus should remain on the victims? Let's talk about this in the comment section down below. Personally, I don't think Diddy deserves to know the identities of his alleged victims. It's not about fairness. It's about protecting those who have already suffered. Diddy is the one facing charges, and he needs to confront the evidence, not focus on the names of those who are speaking it out against him. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Let me know what you think. Peace.